Section 9 of the Universal Religion, Bahaism, its Rise and Social Import. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Nicholas James Bridgewater. The Universal Religion, Bahaism, its Rise and Social Import, by Hippolyte DREYFUS-BARNEY. Section 9. Abdu'l-Bahá. Baha'u'llah had no disciples more zealous, more helpful, or more faithful in his work than his eldest son, Abdu'l-Bahá Abbas, born at Tehran on the 23rd of May, 1844, the same day that the Bab had declared his mission. He had constantly been with his father, sharing his sufferings since his earliest childhood, also profiting, more than all the others, by the marvelous power which emanated from Baha'u'llah's person, endowed with a captivating charm, with an eloquence which made his conversation sought after by even his most irreducible adversaries. He joined to the indomitable energy inherited from his father quite a personal gentleness, combined with that particular tact sometimes possessed by Orientals, and which straightway makes them equal to any situation. With the son of Baha'u'llah, these qualities, united to the power of self-mastery, which, according to J. Rousseau, can alone render us master of others, has made of him both one of the strongest and at the same time most seductive mentalities that can be imagined. His unique intelligence is capable of seizing at the first glance all the aspects of a question, and without hesitation seeing its solution. His heart attracts all the disinherited of life, who feel themselves instinctively drawn towards him. Without entering into the smallest details of the life of the Bahais, since the days at Baghdad, it would be impossible to indicate the different circumstances in which he distinguished himself. Either it was necessary in the course of successive exiles, in order to spare his father fresh suffering, to undertake opportune interventions with the authorities, or else during the calmer life, at the latter times at Acca, to write from dictation the long treatises which he revealed to the world, or to clear up a difficulty existing with the fanatical Mussulmans, recourse was had to his diplomacy. His indefatigable energy, ever ready to be of service, as much to the small as to the great, to friends as to strangers, was the living symbol of the name he had chosen, Abdu'l-Bahá, the servant of Bahá. Accordingly, he was designated in the Book of the Testament. Note one of the writings of Baha'u'llah in which he indicates what steps the Bahais should take after his death. End note. To take the head of the movement on the death of Baha'u'llah. This event took place on the 29th of May, 1892. From that time on, Abdu'l-Bahá has always been kept a prisoner within the walls of Acca until quite recently, when the Sultan Abdul Hamid, re-establishing for his people the Constitution of 1876, set free all the political prisoners of the empire. But nevertheless he has spread his father's cause to a most unexpected extent, especially if we consider the absolute absence of any organization of propaganda properly so called, and the inadequate means of action given the position of the Bahais in Syria, without it being always possible to retrace the point of departure of the movement in each country. Nevertheless, especially since 1892, in almost all the large towns of Europe and America, groups have been formed for the propagation of the ideas of liberalism and religious unification represented by Bahaism. Some of their members have been at Akka to receive from the Master himself, and from the spectacle of life led around him by the little Bahai community, the great teaching which later on they wish others to profit by. Those who have been unable to make the long pilgrimage have entered into correspondence with Abdu'l-Bahá, and so to precisely collect his opinions on the most diverse circumstances of life. Thus he is effectively the center of this great movement, which, having started from the Persian mountains, today reunites people from all corners of the earth in one unique aim, that of the progress of humanity. The exile to Akka has certainly counted for much in the rapid conquests made by Bahaism during the last few years in the Judo-Christian world. Numerous indeed are the prophecies in the Old or New Testament which point out the Holy Land as the place of future manifestations and the door of hope for humanity. Since the day when the Sultan sent Baha'u'llah to reside in the White City by the sea, in front of Mount Carmel, Bahaism was no longer only presented to the Christians of the West as a reform of Christianity, but as the unexpected accomplishment of so many prophecies not understood till then. Note: the history of the German colonies of Jaffa, Jerusalem, and Haifa is in this respect curious enough. They were founded towards 1860 by people from Württemberg, who followed in voluntary exile their pastor, C.H. Hoffmann. This latter had announced to them that the time fixed by Christ for his return had arrived, that he found the proof of it in the words of Jesus reported in the Gospel, and that meanwhile it was necessary to found the kingdom of God in the Holy Land. An analogous sect, that of the Millerites in America, since 1844 is expecting the second coming of Christ. Endnote. And from the pen of the manifestation flowed a new interpretation, which for the faithful broke away the seals which till then had kept the signification of the holy books hidden. The new biblical exegesis, as also the Quranic or Avestic exegesis, which thus is seen in the writings of Baha'u'llah and the commentaries of Abdu'l-Bahá, is certainly one of the most curious sides of Bahaism. Besides, they have justified the appearance of quite a special literature, whose influence cannot be denied, and which merits profound study in itself alone. However, it is not with this aspect of Bahaism that we wish here to occupy ourselves. We refer rather to special works. Note, see amongst others, the Bahai Proofs by Mirza Abul Fazl, the J.W. Pratt Co-Printers, New York, 1902, the Book of École, Some Answered Questions, etc. Endnote. For those who wish to investigate how Bahaism presents itself as the accomplishment of apocalyptical prophecies of Jews and of Christians, and placing ourselves on ground less high perhaps, but more within the reach of all, and certainly of a more immediate utility, try to show how, from the social point of view, It appears as the synthesis of the most elevated principles on which the future evolution of humanity can be founded. This will be the object of the second part of this study. Section 9.